Hey guys, what's up everybody? Welcome back again to another tutorial video from Apex Predator Billiards Club. My name is Apex Lillian and I'll be taking you through what is known as the fundamentals of kicking. And in today's video specifically, we're going to be talking about fundamentals of kicking using track lines. Now, what are track lines? Track lines are basically imaginary lines that are on the pool table in which a pool player uses as a reference in order to make a 1-rail, 2-rail, 3-rail, maybe a 4-rail contact with an object ball. Now on the table here you can see that I have some balls placed at specific positions, which obviously is the number 3, the number 6, the number 8, the number 10 and the number 13. And these balls are placed just to make it easier for reference for you as it relates to knowing what the diamond numbers are. But before we get into all the whole intricate details of the calculations, rail conditions, and diamond numbering, first I would like you to do is to just look down below here. You can just smash that subscribe button, of course, like the video, and share the content on all your social media websites. And of course, if you're enjoying the video, feel free to take in the lesson and go on your own table and practice. Alright, so I will see you in a wrap as we go into the calculations of fundamentals of kicking. Alright guys, so we are back and now we're going to be talking about phase 1 of kicking, which is understanding the diamond numbering. So we're not going to make this really complicated, it's just a very basic principle. And first let's talk about the purpose of understanding the diamond numbering as it relates to the track lines. Now the diamond numbering are just basically to give the players a reference to which they are going to be kicking from and to. So these lines here, track lines, diamond numberings are what we use to perhaps connect a pocket to a diamond, or a diamond to a diamond, or a diamond to a pocket. It could be either of the combinations. So the diamond numbering and the calculations may not necessarily be something that you're going to be doing whilst you're in the game, because of course you're going to be practicing this before you actually try to apply the principle in a game. Now the more you do this, is the more second nature it becomes more mental. So your calculations and movements around the table is going to be way easier than it is. But if this is the first time you're seeing this kind of calculation on a pool table, it's going to take some time, it's going to take some practice before you get into the learning it by second nature. So we're just going to get right into that right now. Alright? Now, for me, the way how I do my kicking as it relates to calculating the natural track line from the object ball, from the cue ball to object ball, is to name my diamonds using powers of 10. So here, I place the cue ball as my object ball here, because I'm using these balls to make it easier for referencing for you, the viewers. But my cue ball is my object ball here, and these balls are going to be my cue ball. Alright? Now, this diamond, this first diamond here is 10, 20, 30. The side pocket here is acting also as a diamond, that's diamond 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Now, as we bend this corner and come around here, we start to increase by increments of 20. So if we are at 80, we're going to now go to 100, then 120, then 140, and that's pretty much the end of the possible 1-rail track line. Now, once we have an understanding of that, now we can safely say that maybe we are going to be in between diamonds. So maybe we could be at the 75, or maybe something like 115, or maybe we could be at the in between 40 and 50, which is 45. We're going to be looking at that in future video tutorials. But for now, understanding that the diamonds on the long rail increases by 10, and the diamonds on the short rail again increases by increments of 20, simply because the tail is twice as long as it is wide. Now, with that said, and you now understand the diamond numbering, let's get into the form, and here we have it on the screen. Now, the formula is going to be the object ball that you're trying to make contact with, that's the object ball's number, plus the cue ball's number and we add those two numbers together and we divide by 2. Once you divide by 2, the result tells me my first real contact on the side wheel over here. Alright, so take for example, let's say I wanted to make contact with a cue ball, which is acting as my object ball at the moment, and I am shooting from diamond 80. Because the cue ball is into the pocket, I'm going to refer to that object ball as being 0, and my cue ball here is 80, so if I add those two, I'm still going to get 80. But when I divide by 2, I'm now going to get 40. So that tells me now by reflection, if this is diamond 40 over here, reflecting over here, that's going to be also diamond 40. Now what I like to do here is that I like to aim like near to the what we refer to as the near to the jaw, the near jaw here, right? And I use only top speed in between high center. So we just refer to that as stun follow with a +5, +6 speed. Once I do that, I will naturally head into the trajectory of the object ball that is in the corner. Now remember guys, that when you're doing kicking in practice or in a game, sometimes you may not necessarily want to per se make the ball, you just want to make contact. That trying to make the ball is irrelevant, just making contact is the first objective. So let's just demonstrate example 1. So here I have that I'm 80, and I know that my aiming point here is at 40. So if I just aim here with center height, stun follow with a +5, +6 speed, aim at the near jaw, I should be able to make contact. And that's fantastic. First try making contact. Now, the average pool player would, of course, know that's about where they are to aim. But have you ever had a shot like that before and you try to play it and it goes wide or it goes short? That's simply because you're lacking knowledge as it relates to the rails. When you have a very stiff rail, right, the ball tends to come a bit short. When you have very soft rails or medium soft rails like mine, then the ball tends to go a little bit long. So you may either need to adjust using spin or you may need to adjust by using the diamonds. So that is our first example as it relates to using the calculations. Let's do a few more examples, guys. So we're going on to example number 2 now, where we're at diamond 60. And now we're going to be again trying to make contact with 14. These are just my 2 balls that are placed in here to replace the 14 when I'm done making the shot. So once again, the 14 ball is in the pocket, and I'm now going to be calling again that is 0. When I add that to 60, I will still get 60 divided by 2. That's going to give me 30. So I'm going to be aiming here at 30. Now my table tends to go a little bit short at times, depends on where I'm coming from, the angle. When I'm coming from a more steeper angle like this, the tail tends to go a little bit long. When I'm coming here, the tail tends to come a little bit short. So what I like to do is that I just like to adjust by 0.1. So instead of aiming at 30, I just kind of like to aim at, say, perhaps 29, there or thereabout. Now that gives me a higher percentage to make contact, because then I'm sure that I can either hit the ball full or I can come off the end rail here to make contact. So whenever you're kicking, you have to kick with percentages. Let's get into this right now. Example number 2. So I'm at 60, I know my aiming point is at 30. Little adjustment at 29 here. Stun follow +5, +6 speed. And let's try to make contact with the 14. Give me a higher percentage. Now here you can see I came off 2 rails simply because the ball went a little bit long. But as I said before, you have to kick with percentages. But if you kick with percentages, you have a higher chance of making contact, making ball. Alright? So let's move on to example number 3 really quickly. Here. And again, 0, which is the 4 ball here, plus 30, that's 30, divided by 2, that's going to give me 15. So that's going to be in between the first diamond and the second diamond right here. Alright, it's going to perhaps aim at say 14. And aim here at 14. Just to make sure that I make good contact with the 4. Alright, so here we go. Top spin. Aim at say 14. Go a little bit high. Make contact with the 4. Alright, so far I've been successful in making the ball at all times. But that's not always going to be the case. There are going to be situations where you don't necessarily meet the ball, but sometimes you are only able to make contact. Alright, so that is basically all it is as it is kicking from the side rail. As you can see, my aim here is just to figure out the trajectory. Once I know the trajectory, then I'm able to make the necessary adjustments. Let's move on to phase 2, where you're kicking from the end rail into the corner. Alright guys, so now we're going to be kicking from this part of the rail to the corner. Again, this is just finding the natural track line to the corner. The same calculations as I mentioned to you before is the cue ball plus the object ball divided by 2, that gives me the first rail contact. Now, if you look at the description, you're going to see that FR means first rail, OB means object ball, CE means cue ball, and pretty much those are the acronyms that I use in the description. So now I'm aiming from diamond 100, and again I'm aiming towards the pocket. When I add 0 to 100, I'll get 100. If I divide that by 2, I'm going to get 50. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can make this shot, and it all depends on what kind of player you are. Now, naturally when I'm playing these shots, I like to play with maybe like a quarter tip of spin, maybe about 12:30 there or thereabout, maybe like in between 1 o'clock and 12 o'clock on telling that the cue ball is on like a clock. So I like to play anywhere in between there. Here's the problem with using spin. If you don't know the table could play you a little bit long most of the times, and you tend to go a bit long off your target. So what I like to do is, before I play on any table, I like to test the rails to see how it reacts. Once I know how the rail reacts, I can know if I need to use diamond adjustments or I need to use spin. Now, since I'm on my table, I know that I have to use maybe like about a quarter tip of spin. Just a little bit, not much, not even so much as a quarter, just a little bit of spin. But I can also make the shot by avoiding using spin. Let me demonstrate. So I know that my aiming point is at 50. I've already done the necessary calculations here. And so I'm just going to be aiming at diamond 50, and I'm going to be using a quarter tip, or in between a quarter, 1/8 amount of spin. And there you can see what happened. I went a little bit long. And of course, usually this happens whenever you are in a high intensity match. And sometimes you wonder if the calculation works. It does work. However, you have to understand whether you need to use spin or no spin. Now I believe that my table, I may have used a little bit too much spin there. Let me see if I can make the necessary adjustments. And we'll just perhaps not aim at 50, we'll just aim at perhaps 49, or sorry, I should say 51, and just leave that little bit of spin there. So finding center high here, just applying a little bit of right spin. And new contact with the 3. And that is pretty much how you do the necessary calculations. So you have to know whether is the table best using diamond adjustments or spin. And I prefer to use diamond adjustments on my table. Now for a final example, this is just a complicated one here. I'm putting a diamond. So I'm in between diamond 12 and diamond 14. So I'm at diamond 13. And so diamond 13 or diamond 130 divided by 2, I'm going to get 65. So here is 50, here is 60, here is 70, so 65 should be about here. So if I place my cue ball in between diamond 12 and diamond 14. I'm going to be at diamond 130. If I aim here at about 65, I'm going to come a little bit short, so I need to apply, I believe, about a quarter tip of speed here. And make contact. Now, when you're playing off end rail, the closer you are to the first rail cushion, you have to give the cue ball time to correct its angle, because it's always going to come off a bit short. The cue ball doesn't have enough time to come off the end rail to straighten, so you have to play with a little bit less than a fast speed, maybe in between a slow speed and a medium speed. Alright, and that's pretty much how we go about calculating these track lines. So that's the end of the video, guys, for today's lesson, and I do hope that you enjoyed. See you all in the next tutorial video. We're going to be talking about one rail kick shots from the corner or the end rail back onto this rail here. Alright, so see you guys next time. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and share the video, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.